Well, good morning, everyone, from Parry Sound, Ontario, the home of Bobby Orr, and on the lakes of Georgian Bay. I'm here this morning. That's where I spent the night last night. That's the Bayside Motel, Inn, whatever you want to call it. I did a ride yesterday on the top end of Georgian Bay, not quite the top end of Georgian Bay, on the Key River and into Georgian Bay. That video last week. This week I just came down to Parry Sound, or from last night, spent the night here in Parry Sound, and this week I'm going to ride the waters of the bay, the harbor area of Parry Sound. Just take a look at that and do the harbor, and then there's a big bay around Parry Sound. So we'll ride that, and then maybe head a little bit south on Georgian Bay. There's a place called Henry's, and they have beautiful fish and chips down there, Pickerel fish and chips. So I might go there for lunch, just explore some of the islands on Georgian Bay there, and then come on back and load up and head back home, because it's still about a 2-hour, 40-minute drive from here to get home. So that's the plan. The Seadoo's here. She's all set up. She's all fueled up. I fueled it up the night before. There's the famous trestle here. They have a big Canadian National, has a railway line, runs right through Parry Sound. So let's get things settled up. I'm going to go have a coffee first of all here, and a bit of breakfast, whatever they were serving, and then head down to the water and put the Seadoo in the waters of Georgian Bay. So come along as we head out on another Yukon Bob adventure out of the town of Parry Sound, Ontario. Well, I had to go back to the dock after I launched because I had forgot the life jacket. Not the first time, as you know, that I have done that. I was just out here thinking, what's missing, what's missing? So I looked around, thought, oh, it's the life jacket. So back to the truck, back to the dock, got the life jacket. Then I discovered that the cell phone, it's not charging. So I checked the plug, had to go back to the truck again the second time to get another plug, another cable. And this one's charging, so because the cell phone's really low, I didn't get a chance to recharge it last night. So now it's on the charger here, on the USB off the Seadoo, so it'll charge up throughout the course of the day. Beautiful morning. I've got the sun behind me. Maybe I should put it over this way so we don't have the sun glaring in the camera. So what we're going to do is just go out and explore around Parry Sound. This is the sound out here, all the way around. Kilbear Provincial Park is over there on the point. We'll just explore around this area, in and out of some of the lakes, and then way down out that way is a place called Henry's Fish and Chips on the water. Quite a famous place on Georgian Bay. Hopefully you hit there around lunchtime, 12:30, 1 o'clock, something like that, and have lunch down there, because I hear the place is up for sale and it may be sold, and there may be no more Henry's Fish and Chips there, but there is a brand new building that's being built on the waterfront here in Parry Sound, and that's where Henry's Fish and Chips is apparently going to relocate to, is right here in Parry Sound. So it won't be on the out in the islands of Georgian Bay in the water, but it will be right here. Problem's going to be, if you're a boater coming there, there's not a lot of wharfage around here, not a lot of docking facilities, so I'm not sure how it's going to do here in town, but that I think is what the plan is, at least according to the hotel guy that I stayed with last night. He was giving me all this sort of information. Beautiful morning. We're expecting winds of 12, 13K a little later this afternoon. Parry Sound, by the way, the town is actually just back down in that way. Might just take a run down there and give you a look at that before we head out the other way. The Coast Guard have a big base here in Parry Sound. I've never seen this ship in here before, but this is huge. The Samuel Risley out of Ottawa. Look at the size of that thing. Must patrol the entire Great Lakes system for the Coast Guard. And then back in there, don't know if they've got helicopters in there or not. They might, not sure. This is Fisheries and Oceans. So this is Coast Guard, Fisheries and Oceans. They've got the big crane up on top of there. And they patrol, I guess just along the Great Lakes, Lake Ontario, all the way up here into to Parry Sound. That's a big vessel. Wow, look at the size of that. Hope I never have to call those guys, although I do have their number listed in my phone, just in case you ever run into trouble out here somewhere. Some sailing lessons. Morning. The famous train trestle in Parry Sound. Canadian National runs their trains east to west across Canada, right down that line. There's usually about a train an hour, a freight train, usually about one an hour goes by there. And then Via Rail, which is the passenger thing for Canadian National, has their train service as well, passenger service. This is the Queen, Island Queen. And it does 2 trips a day, usually at 11 a.m. and then another one at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Yeah, we can hear you. I don't know if that was attention of me to get out of the way or what that was about. But they're just pulling out. So they're going out on the morning trip. There's all the people on board heading out this morning. I've done that trip a couple of times over the years, but not in probably 7 years. Certainly not since I've had the Seadoo and been able to go out and do all this stuff on my own. But years ago, I took my mom when she was still alive and took her out on a trip around the 30,000 islands, they call it, in this region. So it's just heading out now. Kicks up a little bit of a wake. Nice little restaurant here right on the water called Tailwinds. I think it's the same people who own Georgian Bay Airlines, which is based right out of here, also own the restaurant. I think that is that a beaver or is that an otter? I think that's a beaver. I've gotten fuel before over there at that fuel dock. Yeah. I could be wrong, but I think it's a beaver. Somebody's going to say, no, that's an otter, idiot. Lots of rock around Parry Sound as well. Pretty much all of Georgian Bay is that sort of style of rock. The guy at the hotel I was staying in last night, the motel, the inn, whatever you want to call it, he was saying he bought a piece of property here about 7 years ago, and he figures it's quadrupled in value over those 7 years. So property's still pretty expensive around here. Parry Sound housing prices, he said, somewhere between 500 and 750,000, 1 million not unheard of. So that's a ways out of Toronto, you know, that's kind of out in the country a little bit. So those prices are still pretty substantial for way out here. But the nice thing about this whole sound here around Parry Sound is that there is, you know, while there's cottages around, they're spaced far between. So like in this whole side of the area here, there's nothing. Over there, some cottages over there, but you know, you're not like one after another, after another, after another. They're spaced out a little bit. Looks like another little boat launch here. I didn't know about this one. I don't know what this is called or how you even get to it. But yeah, there's another launch here with parking, I guess, up top. That's a better launch than where I launched from. There's an old style cottage. Looks like it's been there a long, long time. Just look at the chimney. Yeah, that's been there a while. That's a classic Ontario type of cottage. Okay, let's keep going around the edges of the bay. check out this Seadoo ramp to get your Seadoos out of the water. I guess it works. You just have it up on the ledge of the rock there. It's enough of an angle with a hoist. You just bolt it down and pull them out of the water. Be a bit of a crank with that handle because that's quite an angle they're on. And I guess they go with that cottage up there. It's a big sound. I don't know what the distance is around it, but it's a big basin of water before you get out onto the big water of Georgian Bay. I guess this is technically Georgian Bay, but it's the inland part, the Parry Sound part of it. Have noticed though that the water's starting already to get a little choppier. It's only 10:30 in the morning, but the winds have picked up a bit. We'll have to see whether we can get down to that San Suchi place because you have to go into a little bit of open water. You can do an inside passageway to get down there, but we'll see. Give it an hour or two, see what the winds look like then. Whoops, we're going sideways. What a great little spot to have lunch. Picnic table there. And of course I would roll right over to the rocks. Sand over there. Yeah, don't think I'm gonna land here. I just thought I'd come in and have a quick little look. Push off a bit. Get the back end out. They left one spot for people who don't own cottages to just pull in and have kind of like a little day use area. Here's the guy who's got all the toys. Look at all this stuff. And look at that sauna up there. It looks like it's part of the International Space Station. That's a cool sauna. What a neat little setup he's got here. Beautiful. So the GoPro just froze up again, had to take it out of the case and pull the battery. Looking forward to getting the mic set up, the external mic set up on the DJI Osmo Action 4. Once I get that working in place, I'm going to switch over and make that my main camera and see if that works any better than the GoPro for freezing up, because that having to pull it all apart to pull the battery out to undo the freezing up is kind of a pain. So we'll see how that goes, but I've got to get a couple of things in place to be able to put that external microphone on the Action 4, the DJI camera. When I do, I'll give that a try and see how that works. Way down there's the Island Queen boat that we passed in the beginning. It's making its big loop, so it's coming down this way now. Wow, another very cool little launch spot. I think this is called Sawdust Bay. I'll have to look these up on a map later on, but this looks like a really good launch. Yeah, the concrete platform comes all the way down into there. And then there's lots of parking up top there. So that would be an excellent spot to launch as well. Kind of got the place to myself for the most part. As long as those winds stay down a little bit, I'll be okay. One of those trips where you're not really doing too much of anything. No major destination other than maybe the lunch spot. And other than that, it's just kind of looking along the coastline, seeing what's out here. I have done this trip once before. I think I made a video on this once before, but that has been maybe 2-3 years ago, something like that. So it's been a while since I've been around the sound of Parry Sound and check that out. I've ridden up here quite a few times from the bottom end of Georgian Bay and come all the way up here for just a lunch at Parry Sound to turn around and go back. That's a long day. So today will be a little shorter than that. I think the ferry over there, the Island Queen, is heading over to that place, Hole in the Wall. Maybe I'll follow them over, see what they're doing. Just saw a sign back there for a force fire indicator. It said it's high right now, not in the extreme, but it is still high. But I think you can burn now. You can have campfires at night if you're out camping. Earlier in the summer, you couldn't do that. They had a no campfire ban, but now I think that's been lifted throughout most of Ontario. Okay, so we have found, after a little bit of effort, hole in the wall. I had to stop and ask somebody, and then I went on to the Garmin and kind of pinpointed it and found it. It's just this little area. This is where the ferry will come through. The Queen of the Islands does come through here, but it's down back that way right now. So we'll just go through on our own. It's this little cut of land, not a big deal. Hole in the wall. But you can imagine a ferry that size, when it gets up here, there's not a lot of room on each side of it when it goes through this cut of land. Boy, those are big rock walls. Yeah, so this is the narrowest part. It's not that long, but when you got the ferry coming through here, the Queen of the Islands, it's a bit of a tight fit, I guess. You wouldn't want to lose power as you're coming through. It'll be coming down here in a little while. We probably won't see it. We'll be gone by then. It's a little bouncy out there in the open water now. The winds have picked up a little bit. When you're out, it's calm in here, but when you're in the open water, it's a bit bouncy. So I think I'm going to head back towards Parry Sound area, then see if I can take that inside passage down towards Henry's for lunch. We'll just have to see how rough it is out there. If it gets really too rough, I'm going to just not bother. I'm not into bouncing around for several hours on the water. So by the time you guys are watching this video, I am going to be away for a couple of weeks. I'm hoping to have a couple of videos made in advance where I can cover the time I'm away, but there may be a week or something in the week ahead that I miss. I'm heading down to the South Pacific, to Tahiti, and I'm going to be doing a catamaran trip around Bora Bora for about a week. And then I've got some dives booked on some little atolls north of Tahiti, out in the middle of like nowhere, Rangiroa and Whakarava, these little places where you go out and you can just dive. So I'll be doing a couple of dives a day for about 3 or 4 dives. It's supposed to be some of the best diving in the world. Hopefully make a little video of that when we get back as well. So yeah, I'm leaving right at the end of August, and then I'll be gone for 2 weeks, but maybe we'll have some videos enough made in advance. I'm just not sure at the time of this recording whether or not I'll get all of that done, but we'll see. Might miss 1 or 2, and then of course it'll be the middle of September by the time I get back, so it'll almost be getting towards the end of the season. But it's been a pretty good summer. I've been able to get out to a couple of new places this year, and all the old haunts again. So it's been interesting. It's been a good summer on the water. Wind's been a little higher than I'd like all summer long. It's been hard to plan those getaway long distance trips, but got a few of them in. Oh, that's interesting. They've got a sign right up there, a digital sign. Says wind is 14 kilometers per hour, which is just about what Windfinder said it would be for this afternoon. So 14K, a little rough out on the big water, but through here it should be okay. This is a swing bridge. The wind's really picked up here a bit. I'm just kind of getting behind this boat in front of me, following down in his track. Let him break all the waves. So this is the inland passage to get down from Parry Sound out onto the bigger water of Georgian Bay. It's all kind of inside stuff. But when you got a lot of boat traffic like that, and you get, whoa, shit like this, whoa. It gets a little rough in here with a bunch of boats passing one another. And there is a fair amount of boat traffic on this inside passage. Whoa! Hang on. Like to slow down for those big wakes from the boats. Well, after a bit of a bouncy ride all the way down here, even through the inside passage, it was a little choppy. Not so much just because of the wind, but so much boats going through there, a lot of wake. So this is the famous Henry's on the water. Fish and chips. They have really good pickerel here, so that's what I'm going to have. I'm going to pull in, have lunch here, and have some pickerel. Because the place is up for sale. Apparently they're moving into Parry Sound, as I said earlier. So they're here for now. So I'll pull in here, find a spot, and have lunch. Perfect. Just did a little roll getting onto the dock here, trying to jump over the cell phone, which was on the ground here, so just missed the cell phone. All right, little entertainment for the crowd. I think we've got a bit of a waiting list to get in here. It looks like there's a bunch of folks standing down below. We got a bit of a waiting list?
We do, yes.
Okay, how long do you think?
How many are we?
Just one.
One, already. Probably gonna be about 25 minutes or so.
Okay, Bob. I would put the drone up in the air, but this is a no drone zone because of the float planes that come in here.
Table set for Christina.
So inside for the meal today. So it was about 30 minutes to wait to get in to have the meal, and we'll see how long it takes to get the meal. But I think I'm definitely going to have the pickerel. Just talked to one of the owners, Rachel, from here, and she's a subscriber to the YouTube channel. We were just talking about the move. She said, yeah, they're very excited about moving from here into Parry Sound, right down by the waterfront. So that'll be a big move. Place is for sale if you're interested in buying it. I got a little nice amber beer. I think every other time that I've ever been here, I've been with a fairly big group of people, the Seadoo Tours riding group. So there's been like, 5, 6, 7 of us. This is the first time I've been solo here. It's kind of lonely. All right, so the food has arrived, and before I devour it, I just want to give you a quick shot of it. This pickerel apparently comes from Lake Erie. I don't know how much pickerel they go through, but probably a hell of a lot of it. So it comes with a bit of beans, a little bit of coleslaw, and it looks like 3 pieces with some packaged tartar sauce. All right, gonna have lunch. That is very good fish. The pickerel is nice and flaky. Look how white and flaky that meat is of the pickerel. And the batter is nice and crispy. It's not very soggy. Very good. So that is lunch at Henry's. I had the pickerel, $32 for 3 pieces of pickerel. And I think I've come out the wrong way. Sneak behind the sign. I came out the staff entrance. So that's it, but I had to have the pickerel here just in case they're not here anymore. If the place gets sold, I had to have the pickerel one more time on the water at Henry's. It was really good. Make my way back down to the Seadoo, which is still secure right here. We get it unhooked and we're gonna make our way now back to Parry Sound. Probably take us an hour or something to get back to Parry Sound and load up, and that'll be it for this trip. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up right here at Henry's Fish and Chips on Frying Pan Island for this Yukon Bob video. Just going to make a run back from here back to Parry Sound, put the trailer back in the water, load up, and call it a day. Not the longest of days today, not the most exciting. I didn't even put the drone up in the air today. It was kind of blowing a little bit earlier, and I just didn't bother with the drone today. So kind of a shorter video, but hope you guys enjoyed it nonetheless, and I'll see you out on the water somewhere around Southern Ontario in about a week's time from now on another Yukon Bob Seadoo adventure. Till then, stay safe on the water, and see you next time. Bye for now.